Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your tropical update for July 6th. We're currently watching Tropical Storm Beryl making its way through the Gulf of Mexico towards the Texas coastline at the moment. Here's the latest recon pass. You'll see that barometric pressure is dropping. It was 999 earlier today, now down to 997. We just had another pass also around 997, maybe a little bit higher, actually, maybe 998, 999 as well. So again, we do have a bit of convection. Earlier today, it was looking naked. There was no convection or little convection associated with the storm, but it is expected to re-intensify slowly, and that re-intensification won't happen for another day or so. So we're expecting Tropical Storm Beryl to be a tropical storm for at least another 24 hours or so. You'll see a high risk now denoted for portions of the Texas coastline, moderate risk well into Texas. That's mainly due to rain, but also due to storm surge. And you see those storm surge markers and the slight risk all the way down as far south as Mexico and as far to the east as Louisiana. And then low risk, again, mainly due to rainfall within these areas. Here is the latest satellite image of Beryl. As we can see here, it does have rotation, it does have convection, as we would expect with a tropical storm of winds to 60 miles per hour at the moment. But again, it's not great. It's still being affected by a lot of shear, as you can tell by the immense amount of clouds up to the north side of the system. And so as we move on with time, the shear will subside from the system, and then it'll begin to increase in strength. The latest cone from the National Hurricane Center showing it reaching hurricane strength tomorrow evening, and then making landfall about midday Monday along the Texas coastline, then weakening as it moves into the United States. It then becomes a post-tropical cyclone and moves throughout the eastern United States. And I don't show that here on this because it's not tropical. After that point, it's really just your average rainstorm that exists. So again, the pressure is getting a little lower. Those winds staying about the same for now. Tropical storm warning now in effect from Beryl El Mezquital, Mexico, up to Baffin Bay, Texas. And that the reason those areas are under a warning at the moment and the rest of the areas are still under a watch is because they'll get those winds first. We'll show that graphic here in a little bit. But the rest of Texas, from the Texas-Mexico border up to High Island, or sorry, to San Luis Pass, Texas, are all under a hurricane watch. That's basically the Texas-Mexico border to the Houston Galveston Bay, and then a storm surge watch is in effect from the Texas-Mexico border up to High Island, Texas. We'll show that here in a second as well. Here are the latest models for the system. As you can see, 50 knots is its current intensity. It is expected to remain about level for the next day or so and then increase in strength. The National Hurricane Center calling for it to reach Category 1 strength, although whether or not it reaches that degree of intensity is highly dependent upon the landfall point. Again, as we've been saying for the past several days now, if it's a bit further to the south, it might remain a strong tropical storm, and that's about it. If it goes a bit further to the north, we could be dealing with a Category 1 hurricane. Regardless, the impacts will be about the same. The main impact will be rain. Again, storm surge will be a concern, although it is a tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane. Because of its degree of approach to the coast, nearly paralleling it, storm surge will be a concern as well. So let's talk about those water impacts. As you can see here, a wide swath of 8 to 12 inches possible, generally to the east of Waco, Dallas-Fort Worth, San Antonio, and to the west of Houston. Although Houston's still expected to get a lot of rain associated with this system, it's also to east of Corpus Christi. And so we'll continue to monitor the exact changes on where the landfall point is, because that changes what areas might get the most amount of rain. But more or less, we are expecting a significant flooding event over much of eastern Texas. Again, where exactly will depend on the exact landfall location and movement of this system, but still expect it to be wet, regardless of where you are in eastern Texas. How wet you get depends on the track of the storm. Storm surge again, 2 to 4 feet from the mouth of the Rio Grande up to Baffin Bay, and again from San Luis Pass up to High Island. we're looking at 3 to 5 from Corpus Christi, or from Baffin Bay up to San Luis Pass, including Corpus Christi Bay and Matagorda Bay. Again, those time of arrival winds is why we have that tropical storm warning in effect already for portions of southern Texas and northern Mexico, because we could see those winds as early as Sunday morning. And again, that's tomorrow morning. That's why that warning is now in effect. And then by probably this evening, we'll get warnings for the rest of the coastline. They might keep it at a hurricane watch until we have a good indication that Beryl will re-intensify into a hurricane and then upgrade the area to a warning. They might also just upgrade it to a hurricane warning. We'll see what happens. It's all up to the Hurricane Center and what Beryl decides to do. I think that's it for today. We'll know more information here soon. I guess I could have checked the Storm Prediction Center. In fact, I'll do that off to the side here right now. So yeah, there is a slight risk of tornadoes, so that does need amended. I'll definitely be amending that tomorrow. Slight risk of tornadoes, that's 5%. Generally from Corpus Christi over into the Houston metro area. Again, that's generally going to be on that north quadrant of the storm. And so that's what we're expecting Sunday. And as we head into Monday, continued tornado threat, generally from Houston up into Shreveport, Louisiana, including Alexandria, Louisiana. Yeah, I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Apologies for not having the graphics on screen today. That's all for now. Chris Sixton, InfoWeather Media.